Would you keep uploading if every new subscriber was someone who had just died? That question had never crossed Ethan Cole's mind when he started his YouTube channel. He was just a small-town creator in Ridgewood, trying to make something of himself after years of working dead-end jobs. His channel, Cole's Corner, was nothing special. Some gaming streams, movie reviews, a few half-baked vlogs, but he'd been slowly gaining traction. 100 subscribers here, 1,000 there. Nothing unusual, nothing supernatural. Until the night the numbers started climbing faster than they should have. It began after the car accident. Ridgewood was the kind of town where everyone knew each other, and everyone knew when someone died. 2 high school seniors, both killed instantly when their car flipped on a wet road. The news hit the community hard. Ethan had even met one of them once, briefly, at a local diner. The story was all over town that evening, the kind of tragedy people whispered about in grocery stores and coffee shops. Later that night, Ethan was at his desk, editing his latest video, when he noticed his subscriber count tick upward. At first, it wasn't strange. He'd uploaded earlier that week, and sometimes the algorithm worked in his favor. But then it jumped again, and again. By the time midnight hit, he'd gained 2 new subscribers. He opened his analytics, curious. The names looked odd. One account used the full name of one of the boys who'd just died in the accident. The other was just a username, but when Ethan clicked, the profile picture made his stomach tighten. It was the other boy. He sat back in his chair, pulse quickening. It couldn't be. People made fake accounts all the time, right? Maybe someone thought it was funny. Maybe friends were memorializing them. He told himself it was coincidence and shut his laptop. But then it happened again. A week later, Mrs. Green, the town librarian, passed away in her sleep. That same night, Ethan's subscriber count rose by 1. He clicked the name. The profile image was her smiling at the library's annual book sale. Ethan rubbed his eyes. No way. Coincidence, he told himself again. Always coincidence. Small town, small internet. Stranger things happened. But stranger still was the pattern. Every time someone in Ridgewood died, Ethan's channel gained another subscriber. It wasn't random, it was immediate. The death announcement would circulate, and within hours, his count ticked upward, like a grim scoreboard only he could see. At first, he stopped checking. He told himself it didn't matter. Subscribers were subscribers, right? If anything, his channel was finally growing, something he'd wanted for years. But deep down, a knot tightened in his stomach every time he refreshed the page. And then came the night that changed everything. Ethan was live streaming a late-night horror game when he noticed the chat shift. A new user had joined, one he didn't recognize. The name was simple: Green Library. His hands froze on the keyboard. His stomach dropped. He hadn't spoken Mrs. Green's name on stream, hadn't told anyone about his theory. But there it was. The chat scrolled with her username, typing only 1 line. "You're next." Ethan's heart slammed in his chest. He ended the stream abruptly, claiming technical difficulties, and shut everything down. His apartment felt different now, heavier, as if someone else were inside with him. For hours, he lay awake in bed, trying to convince himself it was just a cruel joke. Someone must have known. Someone must be trolling him, that was all. But the next morning, he couldn't shake the need to check his subscriber list again. He sat at his desk, clicked through the names, scrolling past dozens of accounts, all of them tied to people he knew. People who had died in Ridgewood. The chill deepened with every click. And then, at the very bottom, he saw it. A new subscriber. Added just last night. The account name, Ethan Cole Official. His own face stared back at him from the profile picture. The screen flickered, and the counter ticked up by 1. Ethan couldn't move at first. His fingers hovered above the trackpad, his breath caught in his throat. The glow of the monitor painted his apartment in a cold blue light, and yet he felt a heat rising under his skin, a suffocating wave of panic. The account was there, his name, his face, his exact channel branding, but it wasn't his. He hadn't made it. He knew every password he'd ever created, every linked email, every login. And yet here it was, sitting mockingly at the bottom of his subscriber list, as if death itself had hit the subscribe button. His mouth went dry as he clicked on the profile. For a second, the page refused to load, the circle spinning endlessly, and then it opened. The banner image stretched across the top of the page, a distorted version of his own, but blurred, cracked, like an old VHS recording that had melted in the heat. The video section was empty except for one upload. Just one. And it was titled, The Final Stream. Ethan's pulse thudded so hard it hurt his ears. Against his better judgment, he clicked the video. The screen filled with static for several seconds, the sound of white noise rattling his speakers. Then, slowly, the picture cleared. His own apartment appeared on the screen. His desk, his gaming chair, the very room he was sitting in. Except, it wasn't live. It looked wrong. His desk lamp flickered in the video, though it was steady in real life. A shadow lingered in the corner of the screen, tall and thin, almost human but not quite. And then the camera angle shifted, though he had no camera facing that side of the room. The shot panned to the chair he sat in right now, showing an empty seat. A subtitle appeared in white text across the video. Premieres tonight. Ethan slammed the laptop shut so fast it nearly cracked. His chest heaved as he stumbled back from the desk, knocking over a half-empty can of soda that spilled across the floor. He stood there in the dim glow of his apartment, the silence pressing on him like a weight, every shadow suddenly alive. He wanted to call someone, anyone. But what would he say? My YouTube channel is haunted? Subscribers from the dead are following me? My own ghost account is uploading videos of my death? No one would believe him. They'd laugh. They'd roll their eyes. They'd think he was losing his mind. Maybe he was. The next day, Ethan tried to ground himself. He went to the coffee shop, forced small talk with the barista, and sat by the window as people passed on the street, all blissfully unaware. But even there, the weight followed him. He pulled out his phone, swore he wouldn't look, and then gave in. He opened YouTube Studio. His subscriber count had gone up again. Another name. Another dead neighbor. A woman from the grocery store who had collapsed suddenly the night before. Her profile sat neatly among the others, smiling in a family photo like nothing had changed. Ethan's hand trembled so badly he nearly dropped his phone. That evening, curiosity and dread battled inside him until one won out. He had to know. He reopened his laptop, clicked back onto the duplicate channel, and checked the scheduled video. It was still there, set to premiere at midnight. He hovered over the delete button but froze. He didn't control this channel. How could he delete what wasn't his? He stared at the words, "Premieres tonight," until the letters seemed to burn into his vision. Midnight. His death. The hours crawled. He tried to distract himself. Movies, games, scrolling endlessly through feeds, but nothing worked. When the clock on his wall clicked over to 11:59 p.m., Ethan's body tensed. He didn't want to look, didn't want to know, but his hand moved on its own, opening the channel, clicking the video. The premiere countdown was already at 10 seconds, the chat filling with names he recognized. Dead names. Mrs. Green, the high school boys, the grocery store woman. Hundreds of accounts all typing messages in unison. Welcome, Ethan. We've been waiting. Your turn. The countdown hit 0. The screen went black. And then, the live stream began. It was his apartment, his chair, his desk. Except this time, he was in it. Ethan stared at the stream showing himself, sitting exactly as he was now, but with one crucial difference. In the video, something stood directly behind him. Ethan's breath froze in his chest. The live stream on his laptop showed him exactly as he sat. Same clothes, same posture, same dim glow from the desk lamp, but with that figure looming behind him. It wasn't fully human. Its body was impossibly tall, shoulders sharp and uneven, as though carved out of shadows. Its face, or what should have been a face, was blurred, like someone had smeared oil across a photograph. Yet the impression of eyes burned through the distortion, twin voids staring directly at him. Ethan spun around in his chair, heart slamming like a drum in his throat, but the corner behind him was empty. Just his bookshelf, leaning slightly from age, a few stacked boxes, nothing more. He turned back to the screen. The shadow was still there, still behind him in the stream. Closer now. He slammed the laptop shut, but the sound of the stream didn't stop. His speakers hissed with static, and beneath it, a voice whispered. It wasn't one voice, it was hundreds, layered together, like a crowd chanting in a cavern. He couldn't make out every word, but fragments clawed through the noise. Welcome, Ethan. Stay, your final subscriber, final stream. His hands shook as he yanked the power cord from the wall, sending the apartment into silence. His chest heaved as he stood in the dark, listening, waiting for the whispering to fade. For a few moments it did. He almost convinced himself he was safe. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced down at the glowing screen. A notification from YouTube. The channel had uploaded a new short clip, without his permission, without his control. The title read, "Look Behind You." His throat went dry as his thumb hovered over the screen. Against every instinct, he tapped it. The clip opened. His phone's camera feed filled the screen. Except, he wasn't recording. The angle was wrong. It wasn't the phone camera at all. It was as if something else was filming him from across the room. He watched himself raise the phone, eyes wide, panic in his face. And then, from the edge of the frame, the shadow figure slid into view, moving toward him with a slowness that made his skin crawl. Ethan dropped the phone. It clattered on the floor, but the video kept playing, the tinny sound of whispers spilling out until he kicked the device across the room. He staggered back, pressing himself against the wall, his thoughts spiraling. This wasn't just a channel. It wasn't just a glitch or a hacker. Something had attached itself to him, and it was documenting his life like a show for the dead. His subscribers weren't fans. They were witnesses, an audience. Desperate, he decided to leave. The apartment felt like it was closing in on him, every shadow stretching toward him, every creak in the floorboards a warning. He shoved his laptop into his backpack, grabbed his phone, his keys, and bolted for the door. The knob felt icy under his hand as he twisted it, but the lock wouldn't budge. He rattled it hard, his heart pounding, sweat slicking his palms. Finally, with a desperate shove, the door swung open. He ran into the hallway, breath ragged, nearly tripping over himself as he descended the stairs 2 at a time. Outside, the night air hit him like a slap, sharp and cold. The street was empty, silent except for the hum of a distant streetlight. He sucked in a lungful of air and forced himself to keep walking, faster and faster, until he was nearly running. He didn't know where he was going, only that he needed to get away. But when he pulled out his phone to call someone, anyone, he froze. The screen glowed with a new notification. A live stream was in progress. His own channel. The title, Ethan's Last Night. His thumb trembled as he tapped it open. The screen showed him walking down the exact street he was on, from behind, filmed in real time. He spun around. The street was empty. No one was there. But on the screen, in the stream, the camera angle tilted. Something unseen was following him. Ethan's chest constricted. His thoughts screamed, "Run!" But his legs felt like concrete. He staggered forward, glancing back at the empty road again and again, each time expecting to see it. His heart rattled so violently, he thought it would burst. On his phone screen, the figure came closer, gliding through the darkness with unnatural grace, its form blotting out the streetlights one by one. And then, for the first time, the whispers from the live stream grew clear, all voices blending into a single chilling sentence. "We are almost at you." Ethan's lungs burned as he forced his legs to move, each step clumsy, frantic, like he was running through water. The town felt deserted. No cars, no late-night walkers, no hum of televisions behind windows, just silence, as though the entire place had been emptied out in anticipation of him. He clutched his phone so tightly it dug into his palm, the live stream still running, still showing him from behind. Every few seconds he glanced at the screen, hoping, praying, it was lag, that it wasn't really happening. But the figure was there, gliding closer with every passing moment. Its shape bent unnaturally as it moved, as though the body it wore wasn't built for walking in the human world. Streetlights flickered overhead, each one dying as he passed beneath it, until the road behind him was swallowed in darkness. He spotted a gas station at the corner, a faint glow of fluorescent light buzzing in the night, and bolted toward it like a drowning man gasping for air. His sneakers slapped against the pavement, the sound echoing too loud in the stillness. He shoved open the glass door, the bell chiming weakly as he stumbled inside. The place was empty, save for the man at the counter, a balding clerk in his late 50s with tired eyes and a magazine in his hands. Ethan nearly collapsed against the counter. "Please," he gasped, his chest heaving. "Call the police. Someone's following me." The clerk looked up slowly, his expression unreadable. Then, almost casually, he set down the magazine, reached under the counter, and pulled out his phone. Relief surged through Ethan for the briefest second until he saw the screen. YouTube was open. The clerk's thumbs moved with practiced ease as he tapped into the subscriptions list. Ethan leaned forward, dread tightening like a vice around his ribs. His face stared back at him from the screen, his channel, his videos, his cursed subscribers. The clerk's lips curved into something too close to a smile, but empty, like a mask stretching across his face. "Already subscribed," he said in a low, flat voice. Ethan staggered backward, his heart slamming so hard it blurred his vision. He turned and bolted for the door, the clerk's gaze following him like a spotlight. The bell chimed again as he burst back into the night. The livestream on his phone updated instantly, now showing him running out of the gas station, the shadow figure still trailing closer than ever. Panic swallowed him whole. He couldn't trust anyone, not the police, not strangers, maybe not even his own friends. If the subscribers were the dead, then what was the clerk? Alive but already taken? Or something worse, something waiting to cross over? His mind spun, clawing for logic, but every answer circled back to the same horrifying truth. His channel wasn't his anymore. It belonged to whatever was pulling the strings, and it wanted him to join its roster. He sprinted toward the only place he thought might help, his best friend Marcus's apartment. Marcus had been with him since college, through every dumb prank, every all-night editing session. If there was anyone left to trust, it had to be him. Ethan's chest burned by the time he reached the cracked brick building, his throat raw from the cold air. He slammed his fist against the door, calling out, "Marcus, it's me, Ethan, open up!" For a long moment, nothing stirred inside. Then footsteps shuffled, and the lock clicked. The door opened just a crack, and Marcus's face appeared, bleary-eyed but concerned. Relief nearly made Ethan collapse. "Jesus, man, you look like hell," Marcus muttered, pulling the door open wider. "What happened?" Ethan pushed inside, words spilling out like a flood. "You won't believe me. My channel. It's haunted, or cursed, or hacked. I don't even know. People keep dying, and then they show up as subscribers. And now it's showing me, following me. I saw something behind me. Marcus, I'm next." Marcus stared at him, the color draining from his face. For a heartbeat, Ethan thought maybe, just maybe, he'd found someone who could help him. But then Marcus reached slowly for his phone on the table, unlocked it, and pulled up YouTube. Ethan's stomach turned to ice. Marcus scrolled, paused, turned the screen to show him his own channel. Again, subscribed. Marcus's eyes glistened in the dim light. "I didn't want to tell you," he said, his voice shaking. "I saw it yesterday. Your name, your channel. I've been subscribed since before you even got here tonight." Ethan's legs nearly gave out. The betrayal wasn't Marcus's fault, but it was worse than betrayal. It meant this thing was inside everyone now. It meant he was already claimed. The livestream notification chimed again on his phone, buzzing in his trembling hand. He glanced down despite himself. The title stabbed into his vision like a knife. He finally understands. The stream showed Marcus's apartment, right now. Ethan and Marcus standing exactly as they were. Except behind Ethan's reflection on the screen, the shadow wasn't blurred anymore. It had a face. Ethan's throat tightened as he stared at the phone in his hand, at the impossible live stream playing out in real time. The figure wasn't a blur anymore. It had taken shape. Its face, or what tried to pass as one, was pale and sunken, like parchment stretched too thin across bone. The mouth gaped wider than any human jaw should, teeth blackened, uneven, filed into jagged points like broken glass. But it wasn't the mouth that rooted Ethan in place. It was the eyes. Hollow, cavernous sockets that seemed bottomless, pulling him in, whispering without sound. "You are already mine." He spun around, half expecting to see it standing right there in Marcus's living room. The lamp's glow carved familiar shapes. The couch, the clutter of pizza boxes, the stack of video games, and for a fleeting moment, nothing else. But Marcus was staring past him, eyes wide, as if he saw something Ethan couldn't. His lips trembled, his chest rising and falling too quickly. "Ethan," Marcus whispered, voice breaking. Don't look at it." The words chilled him more than the sight of the creature itself. Marcus saw it. Ethan's body seized up as cold air pressed against the back of his neck, colder than any draft could be. Slowly, with every muscle screaming in resistance, he turned his head. The figure stood just inches away. Ethan staggered backwards so violently he knocked into Marcus's coffee table, sending cans and controllers crashing to the floor. But the shadow didn't move. It loomed, head cocked, its face inches from his, though its body seemed to flicker like it wasn't fully in this world. Ethan's heart slammed against his ribs, his breath coming in short, sharp gasps. Then it spoke. Not aloud, but inside his skull, like 1,000 voices murmuring at once. "You are already subscribed." The phone buzzed in his hand. Another notification, another video. He forced his eyes down to the glowing screen, his vision swimming. The new upload was titled, "Ethan Joins the Feed." On the thumbnail, his own face stared back, lifeless, eyes hollowed, skin as pale as the creature's. Marcus suddenly grabbed his shoulders, shaking him hard. "Listen to me, man! You have to shut it down! Delete the channel! Destroy the account! Something!" His voice cracked with desperation, but his grip was ice cold, too cold for human skin. Ethan froze. Slowly, he lifted his gaze to Marcus. His best friend's pupils had dilated, swallowing the brown of his irises until his eyes were nothing but black pools. His voice dropped, flattening into the same monotone as the gas station clerk's. "It's too late," Marcus whispered. "We've been waiting for you." Ethan shoved him back, stumbling toward the door, panic choking every thought. The live stream on his phone flickered again. Now it showed Marcus's apartment, but Marcus wasn't moving, just standing there with his black eyes staring at the camera, grinning too wide. And behind him, the shadow figure leaned closer to the lens, its teeth filling the frame. Ethan's gut twisted as the whispers grew louder, echoing through the phone's speaker. "Stay, stay, stay." He bolted into the hallway, the door slamming shut behind him, and tore down the stairs. His mind raced. Delete the account? Destroy the laptop? Smash the phone? Could any of that work? Or was he already too far gone? Each step down the staircase echoed like a drumbeat of doom, the building seeming to stretch endlessly, floor after floor with no exit. He gripped the railing so hard his knuckles ached, forcing himself onward until finally he burst out into the night air. The town was dead silent again. every window dark, every streetlight humming weakly. He glanced at his phone one more time, desperate for any sign of hope. But the stream had changed again. It wasn't showing him anymore. It showed a countdown, a blood-red timer ticking down from 5 minutes. Ethan's chest constricted as the whispers turned into one voice, deep and guttural, echoing from the phone itself. When the countdown ends, so do you. He dropped the phone like it had burned him, but the sound didn't stop. The countdown continued, muffled through the cracked screen, the numbers glowing brighter in the darkness. He stumbled backward, hands pressed against his ears, but the voice seeped through his skull regardless, vibrating in his bones. 5 minutes left. Whatever this thing was, it wasn't giving him a choice anymore. The glowing numbers on Ethan's cracked phone screen pulsed like a heartbeat in the darkness. 0:04:59, 0:04:58, 0:04:57. Each second felt like a hammer striking his skull. He stumbled down the street, clutching his backpack tight, his lungs burning, his thoughts clawing for escape. Smash the phone, destroy the laptop, run until my legs break. None of it mattered. Deep down, some black corner of his mind already knew. The countdown wasn't just on the screen. It was in him. A timer stitched into his soul. He ducked into an alley, leaning against the damp brick wall, trying to force steady breaths. The phone buzzed again. Against every instinct, his trembling hand picked it up. The live stream was still running, but it wasn't showing the streets or Marcus or the shadow anymore. It was showing him. A close-up of his own face, pale and dripping with sweat, framed by the darkness of the alley. The camera angle was impossible, as though someone stood inches away filming his every expression. But no one was there. "Why me?" Ethan whispered, his voice breaking. His question vanished into the night, swallowed whole. The live stream answered for him. Words appeared across the screen in red text, as though typed by unseen hands. "Because you wanted an audience." Ethan's chest collapsed inward as the truth slammed into him. His channel. The endless grind for views, likes, subscribers. He had begged the algorithm, cursed at it, sacrificed sleep, sanity, relationships, anything for growth, for recognition, and something in the dark corners of the internet had listened. It had given him what he wanted. More subscribers than he could count. An audience that never left. But he hadn't asked where they came from. He hadn't cared. Until now. The timer ticked. 0:03:2. Ethan staggered back onto the main street, wild-eyed, searching desperately for anyone. A light flickered in the diner across the road. He ran toward it, hope clawing inside him, only to stop dead in his tracks. The windows were filled with faces, dozens of them. People he recognized, Mrs. Green, the two boys, the grocery store woman, Marcus, all standing still, staring through the glass with empty eyes. The dead, his subscribers. They raised their hands in unison and pressed them against the glass. The diner lights flickered, and for a second, Ethan swore their mouths moved together, forming a single word. Stay. The timer ticked. 01:41. His legs carried him to the park without thought, lungs tearing as he collapsed onto the cold grass. He yanked his laptop from his backpack, fumbling it open, the keys slick under his shaking fingers. If this all started with his channel, maybe it could end there. He pulled up YouTube Studio. The interface loaded slowly, agonizingly, like it was resisting him. He scrolled to settings, searching for the option to delete. His breath caught when he saw it. Delete channel. His finger hovered over the button like a trigger. The timer. 0:59. He slammed it. Confirmed. Again and again. But instead of progress, the screen froze. Then in bold letters, a message appeared across the laptop screen. You cannot unsubscribe from yourself. Ethan's scream ripped into the night. He hurled the laptop across the grass, the screen shattering. The timer ticked mercilessly, the numbers glowing brighter, casting the world in blood-red light. His phone vibrated violently, almost leaping from his palm. The live stream had switched again. No countdown now, just a title card. The final subscriber joins. The stream showed Ethan lying in the grass, staring in horror at the very screen he was holding. He dropped the phone, but the whispers were no longer whispers. They were cheers, a deafening roar of applause, as if an invisible crowd had filled the night, celebrating his arrival. Fois 10, sas, cast, fas, white. The shadow figure emerged from the trees, its form fully solid now, towering above him, face twisted in an eternal grin. It leaned close, its voice slithering into his ear. Your channel is complete. 0001. The screen went black, the live stream ended, and Ethan was gone. The next morning, his channel had a new video. No one uploaded it, but there it was. The thumbnail showed a pale face, hollow-eyed, frozen in terror. The title read, "Welcome our final subscriber." And when curious strangers clicked on it, thinking it was just another creepy YouTube story, they didn't notice their names quietly appear on the subscriber list.